Welcome to a place where hearts unwind, infinite threads that gently bind, love and compassion in every line. Together we rise through space and time.
Hey, welcome back to Infinite Threads. I'm your host, Bob. This week we're letting love smile. Not because life is always funny, because it certainly isn't, but because the love force does not only move through tears, forgiveness, healing, and big spiritual moments. Sometimes it moves through laughter, timing, silliness, and the strange little joys that sneak into the day before we're ready for them. Today I want to talk about one of the best gifts that love gives us. The people who make life less weird, or more weird, or however you want to take that. Now let's be honest, life is weird. It just is. We're all walking around pretending we know what we're doing, but most of us are improvising more than we admit. We have routines that make sense only to us. We have private worries, odd preferences, little superstitions, favorite mugs, favorite chairs, favorite ways to avoid doing the thing that we absolutely know needs to be done. And somehow, every now and then, we find people who understand our particular kind of strange. And that's a blessing. A familiar soul is someone you don't have to explain yourself to quite so much. They already know the backstory. They know why a certain song gets to you. They know which joke still works. And they know when you're actually fine and when you are using fine as a protective little blanket. That kind of knowing can make the world feel much less exhausting, because so much of life requires translation. We go out into the world and have to present the edited version. We choose our words carefully. We try not to seem too tired, too odd, too excited, or too worried. Too much. Then we get around one of our people and the shoulders drop a little. The mask loosens. The soul takes off its shoes. That's love. Not always the dramatic kind, but more like the comfortable kind. The kind that says, you can be yourself here, even the parts that don't fit neatly into public. I think we need those people. The ones who remember us across the seasons. The ones who knew us before the latest version of ourselves appeared. The ones who can hear one sentence and know there are 3 paragraphs hiding underneath it. There's a special tenderness in being known that way. It's not just familiarity. It is shelter. A familiar soul can make a hard day easier simply by being familiar. Their voice has history in it. Their humor has old rooms attached. A message from them can bring back a part of us that had been buried under the day's demands. And sometimes they help us laugh at things that would feel heavier if we had to carry them alone. That may be one of the great services that friendship gives to the human spirit. It takes the weirdness of life and makes it shared. A problem that felt embarrassing becomes something that you can talk about. A fear that seemed too strange gets met with, oh, I understand that. A ridiculous situation becomes a story before it has time to become a burden. Some people have a gift for that. They don't remove the trouble exactly, but they help us hold it differently. They make room for a little humor to stand beside the frustration. And suddenly, life is still messy, but it's not quite as lonely. And that's no small thing, guys. Loneliness can make ordinary weirdness feel like proof that we're somehow failing at being human. But familiar souls remind us that everybody is strange up close. Everybody has habits. Everybody has old wounds that make them react in ways they later have to explain. Everybody has moments when they walk into a room and forget why they came there, then stand around pretending they were just inspecting the room. We're not as polished as we try to look, that's for sure. Maybe that's part of why love matters so much. Love lets us stop performing perfection. It gives us a place where we can be real without immediately being corrected, judged, or turned into a project. There's grace in that. To have someone see your quirks and not treat them like flaws. To have someone understand your mood before you've named it. To have someone laugh with you, not at you, when life gets absurd. That kind of love can be wonderfully healing, guys. It tells the nervous little places inside of us, you belong, even here, even like this. Of course, familiar souls don't have to agree with us about everything. Sometimes the best ones don't. They can tease us when we're taking ourselves too seriously. They can tell us the truth in a way that a stranger never could. They can say, come on now, and somehow we hear love instead of criticism. That's a rare gift. Truth lands differently when it comes through someone who has already proven they're not trying to diminish us. A familiar soul can challenge us without making us feel abandoned. They can remind us who we are when we've gotten tangled up in fear. They can help us return to ourselves. And that is part of the love force too, guys. It does not only comfort, it also calls us back to our better nature, back to our sense of humor, back to the version of ourselves that still knows how to be kind even when the world has made us grouchy. And let's not underestimate that, guys. We all need someone who can interrupt our dramatic inner monologue now and then. It gets pretty dramatic too, doesn't it? Someone who can say, yes, that's awful, but also, you're hungry, so maybe eat something before deciding the entire universe is against you. Have a Snickers. That is practical theology right there. Sometimes love looks like spiritual wisdom, and sometimes it looks like a sandwich. I think the love force is perfectly comfortable working through both. There are people who become part of the rhythm of our lives in ways that we may not fully appreciate until something changes. The regular call, the shared joke, the person who knows the story before we finish it, but lets us tell it anyway for the 200th time. The friend who can make a simple errand feel like an adventure because their presence turns ordinary time into something warmer. These are the people who help make life livable. Not by making it perfect, but by making it shared. A shared life is still strange, but it becomes strange in better company. That's why old friendships can feel almost sacred. Not because they're always easy. Real people get busy, they misunderstand, they drift and return, they have seasons where life pulls them in different directions. But when the thread is real, there's a kind of recognition that survives the gaps. You pick up the conversation and something in you says, there you are. I love that feeling, guys. I love it. There you are. The world is big. Time is strange. People change. Yet some connections carry a little home inside them. A familiar soul does not have to be someone that we've known forever either. Sometimes a person enters later in life, and within a short time, they feel oddly known. A soul connection. The conversation comes easily, the humor lines up, the heart recognizes a safe place before the mind has finished checking the paperwork. That can happen. Love is funny that way. It seems to know where to place people sometimes. A coworker becomes a confidant. A neighbor becomes family. Someone met by chance becomes part of the reason a difficult season was survivable. We don't always see it coming. I know. I've got some that I didn't see coming. Maybe that's why we should be grateful when it happens. Because a familiar soul is one of the ways love says, you don't have to be weird alone. And honestly, guys, that may be one of the kindest things love ever says. You don't have to be weird alone. You don't have to carry every odd thought, every hard day, every strange little joy by yourself. There are people who will laugh with you. People who will sit with you. People who will understand why something small mattered so much. People who will let you be human without making you apologize for it. That's a big deal too. That is worth celebrating. So today, maybe think of one of those people in your life. Someone who makes the world feel less strange simply because they're in it. Maybe send them a message. Maybe remember them with gratitude. Maybe laugh over an old story that still does its work. And if you are that person for someone else, even in a small way, don't underestimate the gift that you're giving. You may be the familiar voice that makes their day feel less heavy. You may be the safe place where their spirit can rest for a minute. You may be the one who reminds them that life is still odd, yes, but it can also be wonderfully, ridiculously, beautifully shared. Thank you. Thank you guys for spending this time with me on Infinite Threads. May we treasure the familiar souls who help us laugh, breathe, and feel at home in our own humanity. And may the love force keep bringing us the people who make life a little less weird. I love you guys very, very much. And you know what I need you to do. Well, pass that on, okay? Later, Gators. Bye-bye.